How'd you sleep last night, by the way? Are you getting enough sleep? I think we all know sleep is important. One of the things we may not realize, in a recent study pointed out that even missing a small amount of sleep, a little sleep deprivation, can actually have pretty serious side effects on your concentration and your work performance and your quality of life in general. Joining us now is the author of Age to Perfection, How to Thrive to 100, Happy, Healthy, and Wise, Judy Gaman. Judy, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I hope you had a good night's sleep last night.
I did, and it's one of the things is doing morning radio, and I'm not complaining, but we do get up exceptionally early, and I am a very lucky man in that my wife and my son both respect that when it hits 7 p.m., no matter what we're doing, Dad has to go to bed, and I typically do fairly good. But I was surprised when I saw this study and saying that 16 minutes short of getting your needed sleep can actually have 16 minutes can have a pretty profound effect on your quality of life.
Well, it's such an odd number, isn't it? 16.
Yes.
They didn't say 15. They didn't say 30. But they looked really good at 130 different participants. This study was actually out of the University of South Florida. And what they found is that people that missed 16 minutes of sleep, they had something called cognitive interference. And that means that they were less focused. And in the study, they had people like in the IT department. They had even some school-age kids. So they got a really good look at that. And one thing we do at Executive Medicine of Texas is we always include sleep history and an Epworth sleepiness scale in their physical, in their executive physical, because sleep is that important. You're not going to function properly if you're not getting enough sleep. How much is enough? Well, the CDC says 7 to 10 hours a night, and that a third of us don't get it.
When we talk too about the importance of sleep, it's not just, and I know a lot of us think, and we're Americans, we are very industrious. We like to perform well, and we identify with our job and those type of things. But it also has a pretty profound effect on our overall health as well, doesn't it?
It does, and this even goes back to a study out of Britain in 2007, and this is a really good, big study, and they found that people that slept less than 7 hours a night were twice as likely to die early from all causes, especially heart disease. So we've even known this, and think back to 2007, we weren't even on our phones like we are today. We weren't doing some of the things we do today that sleep deprive us. I think now more than ever, we're having trouble getting to sleep because of the blue light, because of all the electronics, but staying asleep and making sleep a priority. We need to do exactly what you talked about, Sean, is you said, look, my whole family knows at 7 o'clock, Dad's got to go to sleep, and respecting the sleep patterns that we have to have to function properly. I mean, I commend you, and more people need to do that.
And it's interesting, too, you mentioned the blue light and those distractions. I think that's another thing a lot of us don't take into account, Judy, okay, so we're going to bed we're spending time physically in the bed, but we're not oftentimes spending time getting that good quality sleep, whether we're laying in bed watching TV or whether we're periodically checking our phones. People seem not to realize that simply physically being in the bed isn't the same as actually getting that quality sleep.
Well, you're right. And as we sleep, the longer we sleep, our body cycles through our sleep patterns. And we have to go into deep REM sleep to really get that good night's sleep. And if you wake up, then you're interrupting that cycle, because the longer you stay asleep, the longer the cycles are, the more REM sleep we have. And we found out a couple of years back that when we're asleep in that good deep REM sleep, our brain actually washes itself like a washing machine. So they discovered this because they were looking at people that had Alzheimer's and dementia, and they were saying, gosh, a lot of these people aren't sleeping. Is there a connection? And it turned out there was a huge connection. Because we need that washing machine effect to clean up the plaques in the brain and to keep our brain healthy and keep us moving, which, just reiterates what they're saying in this study, that if you interrupt your sleep or you don't get as much sleep, you're going to have less focus. You're going to have cognitive interference.
Talking with Judy Gaman this morning. She is the author of Age to Perfection, How to Thrive to 100, Happy, Healthy, and Wise. Also a speaker on healthy living. And Judy, let's talk a little bit about healthy living and making those steps. What advice do you have for people who may not be getting that quality sleep, may not be getting that nightly rest that their body so much needs?
Well, first and foremost, get the television out of your bedroom, because we're also in tune to waking up and flipping on the TV. Oh, let me check the news. By the way, the news is not something you should watch before you go to sleep. But we're all in tune to just kind of checking our phone, maybe firing up our laptop, and just taking one last peek. But the blue light from the television and the phones, the laptops, it all interrupts the body's ability to produce melatonin. So we're not going to sleep and staying asleep. So that's number one. Number two is avoid caffeine. Don't have a cup of coffee at 5 o'clock. And, really do your cutoff probably around 2 o'clock, and just avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. And then make sure your room is kept nice and cool, because we sleep better in a cool, dark room.
Interesting. Yeah. As I say, I also sleep with a fan and partially for cooling, but I also, maybe you would know more if there's any research into this. I know a lot of people that do that, just having that white noise to block out. For example, if you live in a house like mine where there's people still awake while you're sleeping, kind of drowning out some of the sounds of life. Is that beneficial also?
Well, it is. Some people like you, they like to sleep with a fan. It's kind of that humming sound or the you called it white noise, that background music, and it kind of triggers the brain. If you're used to sleeping with that sound in the background, it actually will tell your body and your brain, hey, okay, it's time to shut down. Now, one thing that is not true, people think, well, I leave the television on, it helps me get to sleep.
Oh.
Not really. That is a big myth. It does not help you get to sleep. You may fall asleep, but you will not get into a deep sleep with television or with people talking in the background, because your brain still feels the need to respond and to hear what's going on. So the quieter you can make it, the better. Stay away from the electronics. Avoid stimulants like caffeine and even alcohol. Some people say, oh, I take a glass of wine, it helps me sleep. There's been numerous studies that although people think they sleep better because they had a glass of wine or they had a beer or something, it really has the opposite effect. You don't get that deep, necessary sleep.
Very good information. Judy Gaman, she is the author of Age to Perfection, How to Thrive to 100, Happy, Healthy, and Wise. Judy, thank you so much for your time. You enjoy the weekend and sleep well.
You too. Bye-bye.
Take care.